This is the Nate and Garrett Show, talking current events. Let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk. This is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.
And now, welcome to the Nate and Garrett Show. Prepare yourself to be transported to the furthest reaches of reality. As the hosts unravel the mysteries of the universe, the depths of the deep state, the truth hidden in plain sight, all while bringing you the news from this week. Please welcome your hosts, Nate and Garrett.
Garrett.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up, man? Another Monday.
Yes. How was your week?
It was good. I had a good week.
There's a lot of old news already happened. We keep saying that, but the news cycle's moving so fast.
I know. I actually hate that.
Last time we talked, oh man, sorry guys, I messed up my screen here. Am I still live?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
All right, screw it. Last time we talked, people were freaking out because the market crashed. And we were basically saying everyone's got to take a deep breath and look at this in the context of things. Every time the market's ever dropped, it's a buying opportunity. Well, already last week was one of the best weeks of the market history. We went from being down on the year to being up like 6%. I mean, we gave last week alone. Yeah, last week alone, we almost got to the point of like, okay, that's what you expect to happen in like being a year into the S&P. But yeah, we already best week in years last week, and we're up again today.
Oh, so I suppose all the liberals are apologizing for saying the sky was falling.
Yeah, the media that told you that the market's crashing, it's already up more than it was for almost all of Biden's presidency.
That's funny, dude.
And it's kind of the same thing. They're acting like, oh my God, the dollar's destabilizing. It's not going to be the world currency. It already is. It's still higher than it was during all of Biden's presidency. But they weren't freaking out and panicking about then.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. We made that point last time on the last show.
If you're a panicking, as Trump calls them, I hope you sold.
Yeah,
maybe you'll learn your lesson.
I hope
Thanks for the
all
cheaper
sold.
shares.
Yeah, no kidding. That's great. That's great that they were already proven wrong. Although, I think it's going to continue to be volatile. I could be wrong.
It was a crazy week.
Yeah.
Just a quick recap. Trump, it sounds like it was after the tariffs went on, he basically said, we're cutting all the retaliatory tariffs, but he's keeping like the 10% tariffs on every country. And then he said, except for China. China is getting a lot of tariffs. I think we're up to like 130 something percent tariffs on China. There's not much China could do back to us because they don't really buy much from us. But I think he was kind of thinking, make good with the whole world for a while. It's a 90-day pause, I believe it is, and kind of set up an attack on China. But China is a caged, cornered animal with his back against the wall because they're already not doing very good. And so they can't cut off. We're the biggest consumer in the world, let alone the biggest consumer of Chinese shit in the world. They're not going to be able to sustain this very long. Yeah, but instead of bending the knee, they're kind of attacking. They went and said rare earth minerals are some of the rare earth minerals they're not going to send over anymore. They can't sell to the U.S. and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They hit back pretty hard.
Yeah, I saw that China's not playing soft. They're trying to play hardball with us. And I mean, I think that they're going to suffer from that. I think that we might suffer from that some. It's definitely, as far as a trade war goes, China is kind of maybe the only country that can do it with us, where we're kind of like, this is going to be bad.
They better hope that supposedly there's a bunch of countries that are really close to a deal. And I think that is kind of what they said they're doing the 90-day pause for, because some of the countries were actually putting out good deals for the U.S., which, man, if they get a few of those, I do think that this makes Trump look really good. If he actually gets for real free trade or even favorable trade to the U.S. out of all this, after they were been told that he's changing the dynamics of world trade just because he's cutting off the faucet, and oh my God, people aren't going to look to the U.S. anymore. But if we come out stronger and ahead of this, that's gonna be pretty crazy.
Well, dude, we when this happened, we talked about it last Tuesday or last Wednesday. Feels like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But Trump dropping the tariffs, like you mentioned, down to 10% for everybody. I think it's crazy. I think it's kind of amazing how much Trump looks like he has done these countries a favor. I think all these other countries are like, "Oh, thank you for only tariffing us 10%." When a month ago they would have been pissed to be tariffed 10%.
Isn't that kind of supposed to be the art of the deal?
Yeah, it seems like that's probably chapter 5. But I mean, it does look impressive to me as far as like everybody thinks he did them a favor, but he essentially put a 10% tariff on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just because he started with a bigger tariff.
But man, I think China needs, though, I was kind of into like already, I think it was Nike, they already moved, or was it iPhone? Either one. One of them already moved to Vietnam and stuff. And then he puts a tariff on Vietnam now. But if one country like Vietnam or something gets actually a good deal with the United States, why wouldn't Apple go? Apple's already looking at like Indian stuff. But all these countries then, they're going to take away what made China a powerhouse anyway. There's a lot of countries that could have just cheap labor.
That's probably the biggest danger to China.
Out.
Exactly. The biggest danger isn't like not getting the money right now from us. The biggest danger is it might all move to India and China, and Vietnam, and then they can't sell it to us.
Yep.
They
get lost in the mix of this, and now they're North Korea essentially, where they don't produce anything, nobody buys anything. There's better options type of thing. That's their concern.
And that's a great example of the fact that the United States holds all the cards in these trade deals. Really, the fact that we're such a rich country and
we're the biggest consumers in the world.
Exactly. We buy everything. And so all our other presidents sucked and just sold us down the river. But Trump actually is leveraging our position.
It's going to be crazy if this works. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job.
Like it's working.
I think they did a good job, too, of him. I think a lot of people thought he was bluffing. I think a lot of people thought he would fold. And then by him actually going and putting the tariffs on, I think everyone thought, oh, shit, this guy's serious.
Yeah.
And so now that it's a 90-day pause, I don't think a lot of people think he's bluffing. I think a lot of people are thinking, we have a hard timeline now that we've got to get this done by.
I think they're right, too, man.
You know what's crazy and kind of scary, though? What happened the last time China had a president finally go after them and create a trade war and start to win? Do you remember?
No.
There is a new virus that was released from a lab, and they killed millions of their own people, but it shut down the entire world, and the trade war basically became a non-issue. In fact, everyone else shut down, and China used that to go and automate and get their shipping. And not only that, too, it showed how reliant we were on them. I mean, we had to get our masks from them. We had to get just basically everything. Yeah. It was almost...
They gave us the disease for free.
If we would have had a president that wasn't riddled with dementia, I think they would have saw like, oh shit, there should be a wake-up call because we aren't self-sufficient when we need to be. But it kind of proved, like, them releasing the virus on everyone proved how much, that's probably what they were hoping too, that they'd prove how integral they are. Rather than there being a wake-up call to say, oh shit, we can't be so reliant on another country. Really?
Yeah, I'm glad that lesson came with it. That we're like, hey, let's not be completely reliant.
But I think that was obviously no coincidence. And I think now we can look back and everybody would admit that virus obviously came from the lab.
Oh, we're gonna get banned again, just like we did 4 years ago. We were saying that the whole time.
It's so crazy though how China does this. And instead of our government being America first and standing up and saying, look what China did. They went to bat for them.
Yeah.
And not only that, they went to the big media, the big tech companies and the big public places, and they said, you're not allowed to say this.
Yeah,
We're going to
I
ban
know.
you. We're going to call you the Dirty Dozen in the White House. We're going to make sure that you're deplatformed for
Yeah.
speaking the truth on this.
Yeah,
that
and
was
saying it came from the lab. But you know, I think
very obvious thing, and they knew it.
yeah, but I think
people
part
prove
of
it.
I think part of the reason that our government was running cover for them is because our government was also
I know.
had a hand in creating that virus.
Yep.
We were funding it. Fauci and Bill Gates and all these weirdos were funding it in the lab. So
Yeah.
I think our country is
I
responsible
think we
for
helped
creating that
to obviously
virus,
create
too.
it.
Yeah.
I think they
just came from-
released it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We got to say hi to Box Bar and Kenobi. What's up,
Hey
guys?
guys.
Let's read these comments. We'll go from most recent to last. Kenobi says they don't want to bite the hand that feeds all of them, traitors. Yeah.
Don't disagree.
Yeah. Boxbar says Reagan used these same tactics. When government workers wanted a 10% raise, he told them no. Then a week later gave them a 5% and they were thrilled. Trump is doing this with tariffs. Yeah. Reagan probably read Art of the Deal. Kenobi says, what happened to all the economists clamoring about a great recession? Yeah. But they'll never admit they were wrong either. That's
Especially we're told that these tariffs are so inflationary, which, by the way, also since we last talked, we kind of predicted this too, but inflation numbers came out, CPI and PPI. So basically consumer inflation and business inflation, production inflation. Both of them came under way cooler than was predicted. They even showed some deflation. And then I think we talked about the company Truflation. They're basically saying that even that's way overshooting. We're almost too close to some deflationary, which you don't really want other than food and oil and stuff. Of course, this isn't good enough for the liberals. They're saying, well, the reason the oil's going down is because we're going into a recession. But also they said right after he was elected, why is food prices not going down? So they just, you can't win. Trump cannot win.
Of course not.
But we're seeing some very, very cool inflation numbers, even bordering on deflation. The Fed is asleep at the wheel. They've got to get in there and cut rates, but they're using the tariffs as an excuse to not to. But also, the same people that told us that we weren't going to have inflation after they printed trillions of dollars during COVID, and then they were proven wrong. There was big inflation. Then they told us that it was transitory inflation, and they were completely wrong on that. Those are the same people telling us how inflationary these tariffs are going to be. But if we get 2 or 3 good trade deals, it's not going to be inflationary.
Yeah, that'll cover it by itself.
Because those are going to be the products that are going to be a deflationary force, really. But there's going to be enough options already that it's not like it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be inflationary, especially if we keep cutting a bunch of nonsense red tape.
Right.
Especially if we keep drilling oil to the point where it is getting cheaper and cheaper, making gas prices cheaper and energy prices cheaper. It's not a foregone conclusion.
Especially if we cut government spending.
There's another one too. Yeah. Yep. We get some government. That's kind of what Elon said. We need to cut about $1 trillion with government spending. And then with cutting red tape, we need about $1 trillion extra just from GDP coming up. And then we're no longer have a big deficit.
That's what I think. I think if you just move to a more principled economy, that's how it's supposed to work. And as you get closer and closer to like an actual, capitalist system, basically, I think that the economy will thrive. I think there'll be some growing pains in there, which is what, we were saying when it was looking a little rough at, 2 weeks ago or whatever.
A week ago,
yeah. Yeah. But, in general, I just think it's going to be better.
Yeah,
I think it's all going to go good instead of bad.
Already the market, like we talked about, best week in a long time last week, I think it's already close to being at what it was when Trump was elected or right around there. Just wait until 1 or 2 trade deals get announced, and then we're really going to see it move.
Yeah, there you go. And we pointed out the investment that Trump has already brought in, probably 3 shows ago, and it was trillions of dollars. And
did you hear just today, NVIDIA announced that they're going to produce chips here, basically all produce chips that are all made in America here. Yeah, it was big news.
No kidding. I didn't see that, but you know what? Maybe we should just pull it up, Let me see if I can, I'll just search for it on X, I mean. NVIDIA.
You want to just do NVIDIA? Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
NVIDIA announces expanded production in the USA. For the first time, we'll produce NVIDIA AI supercomputers entirely in the U.S. NVIDIA Blackwell chips have started production at plants in Phoenix, Arizona. Dude, look at this. How great is this? Yeah. These are going to be really essentially high-paying manufacturing jobs producing chips for AI.
NVIDIA,
I mean, this is a great industry to bring to the United States.
I don't know. NVIDIA is having trouble keeping employees and incentivizing employees because they're all millionaires, because they even down to the janitor. They get paid in stock options and stuff. And the stock has blown up due to them just killing the AI world, just crushing it.
Dude, that's interesting.
Having no competitors.
That's a weird problem is you pay your employees too well.
Yeah, they can't make enough chips right now. Their demand is so high that they just can't make enough. So now everyone that works for them is basically a millionaire.
Shit. Okay, let me see here. Manufacturing plants in Texas. All right, I'm going to go apply for a job.
It's kind of nice that we're not seeing any California. We're seeing Phoenix. We're seeing Texas.
They must be a smart company. Dude, that actually makes me want to show something. It's just this. Okay, let me bring this up real quick. I was going to show this just if we had a random thing to talk about.
You know, it's the one I talked about 1,000 times, right? That people just aren't looking at yet.
Oh, yeah. I do. I remember.
So not only is this the Electoral College, this is also for Congress. Yep. People are leaving shitty blue cities and they're moving to, nicer red cities.
Let me read it.
Okay, yeah.
It says, so many people are leaving blue states that it is projected for red states to gain approximately 12 to 15 seats in Congress and Electoral College after the 2030 census. Democrats are done for. Yeah, that's what you've always said. If we can make it to 2030, it's over.
That's why. Because they could win the blue wall and still not win the presidency. Pretty easy. Texas and Florida are red forever for the rest of our lives. Texas, they keep telling you that Texas is going blue. It's not. Florida used to be a swing state. It's not.
They were trying to tell us Texas was going blue, and I thought that was the dumbest shit I ever heard.
It's not. Yep. So yeah, this is huge for the Republicans. J.D. Vance wins in 2028. I don't understand how we see another Democrat president for a very long time.
I don't think we will. We were saying how we think the Democrat Party's dead. We've said that for a while, basically. And I watched Bill Maher, basically saying that, although trying not to, because he was saying, well, we need to move back to a more central liberal, the more old school liberal, and it's like that party's never going to exist again.
It can't. Yeah.
So yeah, if that's your big plan, then you and the other people over 60 will do that. And
that far left wing is so toxic that, and they're forced to swallow that poison pill, because without them, they can't win a primary if they even have one. And it's just, they make anyone unelectable.
Yeah.
Did you see it was Poland?
And they'll never negotiate. They'll never change.
Did you see, I think it was Poland. They had a presidential debate recently. Did you see this? And the conservative, type in presidential debate, gay pride flag. See if anything comes up. You didn't see this yet?
No, I don't think so.
I think it should come up pretty top here. Play this.
I haven't seen this.
Okay. Yeah, we can't. I mean, it's kind of we don't speak Polish, but you'll get the gist of what's happening here.
Dude, I might have to move our webcams. Let me do that.
So not only in the U.S. is this just the poison pill and toxic, I think this perfectly paints the picture here. Watch. So this is the what we would call conservative right here. And watch what he's doing here. He's pulling out the Polską-biało-czerwoną flagą
i ją będę reprezentował. Mam też, drodzy Państwo, dla pana Rafała Trzaskowskiego, bo ostatnio uciekał tej symboliki mojego szefa sztabu, którego już wymieniał. Ścigał za to, że pokazał zdjęcie z flagą LGBT z Gazety Wyborczej, więc panie Rafale, ja z biało-czerwoną...
If he acts like you're insulting me with that, then he's got that wing of the party going, why is that insulting? Why is that insulting?
Yeah.
That's the gay pride flag there.
And it's
but if he ignores it, people say, yeah, look, he's not for us. He's for them. Yeah. So they put him in a losing situation there.
And I think he was really probably illustrating something which is that, you know, the leftist allegiance is to that flag. Mm-hmm. It's not to America. It's their religion, their woke religion, and you know, that's what they worship. That's why it's in every classroom, every single activist that has.
That's why you have to ignore the truth to believe in it, because it's a cult.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to deny reality,
right?
And it's a deadly sin if you don't.
Yeah, and one of the main tenets is men can be women. It's like, okay, you're insane.
When a toddler instinctively knows that, it's not that the toddler's wrong, it's the toddler's transphobic. We gotta get him out of schools.
No shit. Yeah. Kenobi says USAID funded flag, most likely. I think a lot of it. See, that's part of the manufactured support that convinced these people that most people agreed with them. It was just
I think we're gonna see
lie.
some weird shit with USAID. I don't even like calling it USAID anymore, because it really wasn't USAID. It was never called that. It's USAID. But that is how they propped up so much of this bullshit around the world. I sent you a clip of kind of where people stand on the Democrat and the Republican Party. Maybe a good time to play that one.
Okay. Let me think. Is it this?
Yep.
Okay. Hang on.
We're told that Trump's making a blunder. Everyone hates him. Blue wave. But we've shown over and over that the polls are just not saying that.
Let me see.
Here's another one.
Here. We might have to move our cameras, but we'll see.
That's fine.
This, to me, is one of the most shocking pieces of poll data that I truthfully have seen this year, or maybe in any prior year.
Really?
Yes, really,
CNN
because I want you to take a look. Cares more about the needs for people like...
Never been more shocked with the poll, he's saying.
Okay.
This guy that works with CNN.
And this is like this week?
Is his job. Yes. This is his job. Okay. He's a poll guy, basically. He's a poll watcher. And he's saying this poll's shocked him more than any poll.
Wow,
ever.
Look at this, dude. Wow, this is crazy. 1994, for the question of which party cares more for the needs of people like you, it was Democrats plus 19. 2005, Democrats plus 23, so growing. Then in 2007, it dropped to plus 13, and now it's tied?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is from Quinnipiac, which is, they always under polled Republicans every time. So play that out.
And by the way, I mean, this number, the Republicans actually care. The Democrats don't give a shit. Like, tied is great, but it should be plus to the Republicans. But whatever. This is great
young
progress.
Liberals that are the ones that are answering polls.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, Kate Ball. We got a tie, even after this tariff war had already started, split between Democrats and Republicans on how people feel which party cares more for needs of people like you. And why is that so surprising? Because I want you to take a look at prior years. Democrats always lead on this question. Back in 2017, before the 2018 midterms, 13-point lead. 2005, a 23-point lead for Democrats. 1994, which was a big Republican year, a 19-point lead for Democrats. And now, all of a sudden, a tie? All of a sudden, the Democrats, who are the party of the people, no more. We get a tie on this question, on a question that has traditionally overwhelmingly been a Democratic advantage. Which party cares more for the needs of people like you? It's truly something I would not have expected to see, especially after this tariff war had begun.
Where does it show that Republicans are making the most gains?
Yeah, again, you talk about party of the people. Look at this. Cares for the needs of people like yourself. Look here, we got non-college, we got those with a college degree. Among those with a college degree, it's the same score. Plus 18 points for Democrats in 2017, plus 18 points for Democrats now. But look among non-college voters. Look here. It was plus 7 for Democrats in 2017, and now Republicans had overwhelmingly gained plus 9
You know what's
points.
interesting about that?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a lot of his, a lot of Democrats that are getting that college degree, it's almost a meme, but it's right. A lot of them get those worthless degrees, and they're hoping to become like a college professor or whatever. And that slush fund's getting cut out now with the USAID, not only here, but overseas, where we talked about how Australia is having emergency meetings because Trump's cutting off funding and stuff.
Yeah.
We yelled about that last week.
Yeah.
But if these
800
tariffs
million
work,
to Australian universities.
yes, if these tariffs do work, one of the people that are going to be getting the most benefit from it are going to be the non-college manual workers, basically.
Good.
It's kind of interesting that has moved so far towards Trump on this one.
Dude,
Is your observation?
yeah, I think it's really great. And the fact that the college approval rating didn't change at all is just such good evidence of the brainwashing that happens in these universities. The education they provide is horrible. It is for sure people going to undergrad and graduating are coming out with dumber ideas than when they went in.
Do you know what should be scary too for liberals? Is that number, that 18, it really can't get any worse for Republicans. The Republicans are so non-existent there that can only get better for them. And then when that gets better for them, it's just like, well, then we might as well be at 2030, where it's almost impossible for them to win the Electoral College.
Dude, I really think it's over. I think it's, and I thank God it's going to save the USA, save all of us.
We talked about USAID is used for so many of these leftist liberal organizations and stuff. I mean, that's going to hurt them too. We're seeing it now. NPR, PBS, they're going just today. Republicans announced that they're going to introduce a bill to defund them, and it's probably going to pass. And then Trump's obviously going to sign it, and that's gone then.
Yep.
There's a big part of the Democratic mouthpiece that your taxpayers are paying for. You're paying your tax money to go to these people that hate you, to go and campaign against you.
And lie about you. Spread just lies and hatred about you. Your money's being stolen.
Your money's being stolen to pay for your enemies who are trying to make your life worse.
And all these leftist media organizations wouldn't exist if they weren't being funded on stolen money, and then they talk shit about the people they're stealing from. It really makes me sick, dude. I hate these organizations so much.
There's something very evil about that.
For sure. Especially because they're lying. They're just evil, lying pieces of shit. They're more responsible for like the Iraq war and Afghanistan, all these horrible wars, probably more than the military-industrial
complex. People don't
complex.
remember, the Iraq war was very, very bipartisan. And it was basically because the media was telling you that there's weapons of mass destruction and we have to go in. And they would play touching America yay stories during their puff pieces and stuff. That was very manufactured.
Yeah, it's always manufactured.
Anybody would have just said, weapons of mass, why are we going into Iraq again?
Yeah.
What did Iraq do? They just, other than the fact that Israel hates them, what did Iraq do?
Dude, Family Guy has a great bit on that. We should almost show it. But let me read these comments. Kenobi says, the blue-collar beast has been awoken. The average American is sick of the progressive bullshit and are showing up to vote it out. I think
it looks like, other than cucked Canada, it looks like it's happening elsewhere in the world too, and we're seeing it kind of play out.
Well, it's either that or die. It's honestly, it's either become conservative. In
globalism, I talked about how China now is that wounded animal with his back against the wall. I feel the same about globalism. I think that's why Le Pen's getting arrested, and that's why Romanian, that guy's getting arrested. Yeah. I think we're seeing that. I think there was supposedly another foiled Trump attempt on Trump's head again. I think there was supposedly an assassination plot that the FBI just uncovered.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, they're a wounded animal. What is going to happen? Last time this happened, even to a lesser extent, we got COVID. What is it this time?
It's interesting you bring that up. It actually freaks me out because, Bill Gates has been talking about his new virus. He doesn't call it his new virus, but I have my own theories. Yeah. But anyway, the next pandemic, Yeah, and you might be right. It's kind of, dude, it's seriously like evil is getting its ass kicked so hard that I think it does need to strike back.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a virus. I think it's almost like when, it's almost like the overreaction. 9/11 happens, and then we have the security theater where we have a TSA that does absolutely nothing. Study after study shows that they don't do anything, but we still have to put up with getting groped to fly.
Yeah,
and it makes flying just so fucking terrible. Yeah. And it's our taxpayer dollars, once again, funding people that hate us. Right. And doing this humiliation
ritual. Treat us like
the whole nation.
Humiliation ritual.
Yep.
Invasion of privacy.
And then one fucking guy goes and only kills himself and nobody else with a shoe bomb. Now, but now you lose that too. Yep. You can't wear
Take your shoes off.
I feel like that's the same thing here, where people are like, "Oh man, is this the bird flu? Is it the monkeypox?" I think that's already been done. I think we're going to see something else. I have no idea what it is. Before COVID, I would have never guessed COVID either,
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully it's
And before the shoe bomb, I would have never guessed the shoe bomb.
But, let's get into this NPR stuff a little bit, because NPR, like we just mentioned, is a leftist propaganda machine being funded by stolen tax dollars.
And they lie, and they say that they're non-biased because it is your taxpayer dollars. Yeah. And they downplay how much they rely on taxpayer dollars. All right, if you don't need it, then don't fucking take it. Don't fight this.
Yeah. So here, let's play this clip. This is NPR CEO Catherine Maher.
By the way, I got to say, this is before she was selected as the new CEO.
Oh, this is probably why she got selected.
Yeah, so they selected somebody that's a very crazy leftist at the time when I'm guessing they just thought that Trump had no chance to get back and it was going to be business as usual and nobody was going to care. But they just picked an extreme leftist to run the supposedly unpartisan news organization.
Well, let's see if she has any strange philosophies.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Do you know where we saw this?
That's the leftist mantra to me right there.
Do you know where we saw this? Was the masks. The science leading up to the mask when COVID. The science, and we even had Fauci saying mask wearing is not going to help. You're going to touch your face. It's not fit right. He was telling the truth that time.
Yeah.
But they needed something to let us off a little bit of the house arrest that they had everyone on. So they told everyone to wear a mask. There is no serious person that could have looked at the science before this and during it that thought a cloth mask would help anybody. They knew it didn't.
Yeah.
They knew that the surgical mask didn't help with viruses. They even knew that the N95 masks, they even knew those ones, the average person isn't going to have it fit right, and those aren't going to help.
It's not going to help anyway.
They knew the whole time, but they did it anyway. And there's an article about it saying like, well, it doesn't really matter if these work or not. And the sense of it was it just shows that we're all in this, battling this together.
Yeah, and
so it's almost like the Jewish person wearing the hat or a Sikh wearing their turban, whatever it is, or a Catholic wearing a cross.
Yeah,
it is a religious symbol at that point that has nothing to do with the truth. But to these idiots, truth doesn't matter. It's because we're all fighting this together. So everyone wear a mask.
Yeah, it's a symbol of their devotion.
Be damned.
And then it's also a symbol of like forced coercion and force. Like, look, we'll all wear it because we want to, because we're devoted, and we'll make the other people wear it because we want them to get in line.
You made a good point there. And one of the things that they tried to do too is all studies show it does not help you. So then they changed it to, and people bought this. People are dumb enough that they had told us they buy it. I'm not wearing the mask for me. I'm wearing it for you.
Yeah.
It helps the other person.
That.
You remember that old bullshit line?
Yeah.
What they were doing with that one is then you can't use the whole, you know what? I'm not worried about COVID, so I won't wear the mask. But also, it is more of like, well, you're invading Nate's freedom because you not wearing a mask could hurt Nate.
Yeah.
So we don't let you go out with a loaded automatic gun, do we? No. Yeah. So it's the same thing here. We can't allow you getting other people sick.
Yeah.
Man,
I hated that shit so much, dude.
The whole like, oh yeah, there's asymptomatic spreaders, but also 30% of the people, they thought anyway, 30% of the people are going to get hospitalized and die. But also, you're not going to have any symptoms, so you better wear the mask, not to protect you, to protect somebody else. Because then you can't even do. You look at those studies, pull up a study, they say, yeah, but that was testing that mask to see if it helped the individual. We're not looking at it helping other people.
Dude, long after it was obviously proven that COVID wasn't dangerous, 99.99% survival rate, long after it was proven masks did nothing, which everyone already knew, long after everything was proven what a bunch of bullshit it was, they were still enforcing the masks. They were still pretending like it was super dangerous. They were still calling me a murderer because I wanted to breathe.
The funniest was after the vaccine, and they said, you still have to wear the mask. And everyone said, wait a minute, why do we have to do this? Yeah. It's because they knew that the vaccine didn't stop you from spreading it or getting it. They knew. Yeah. They lied to you there too.
That actually got some of the sheep to push back a little bit.
Not many, because then they just thought, oh, they're making us do this because Nate won't get vaccinated. Fucking selfish Nate not getting vaccinated. I still have to wear a mask.
Yeah, no shit. Thanks, Nate. We'd be free if you would just do what they all say. Yeah, exactly. I've been free this whole time.
You know what, Nate? If you just stayed in your basement, we wouldn't have to put up with this anymore.
Yeah, if you just stay in your basement, they'd let us out of the basement.
Obi says, how many babies has this bitch aborted? Look at the evil face. Man, I didn't want to go and attack her looks, but there is something kind of evil.
Yeah, she's got a gremlin face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam and Stove. Hey.
Adam and Stove.
Oh, man, you're making one of my favorite points here. And you get to be a hero just by wearing a mask. Thanks, heroes. Don't forget, when you're at home and you can't hurt anybody, when you take your profile picture, don't forget to wear your mask.
Yeah,
and make sure it's one of those masks that covers your big, ugly fucking face.
Doing my part.
Also, I'm a lazy piece of shit liberal that has no testosterone. I don't like leaving my mom's basement anyway. I'm a hero. I can sit here and play video games and do nothing and be porn sick, but I'm a hero because I'm doing my part. Doesn't matter that I'm putting on 50, 60, 70 pounds and making me more susceptible to COVID and making me more likely to go and pass it than the people that are outside being healthy, getting vitamin D, going to the gym. I'm the hero. They're the villain.
God, how true was all that?
It's just lazy. The lazy pieces of shit gotta pretend like they were the heroes for once.
Yeah, and do you remember how aggressive they were with that shit? I mean, chasing down a lady.
Do you remember the lady that was grocery shopping?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about bringing that up.
Somebody says, do you need me to call the cops? And he thought she was on his side.
Fuck, I had a video of in England where this lady's not wearing a mask and this dude basically fucking damn near attacks her because of it.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're sitting not wearing a mask. She's standing not wearing a mask, and they freak out on her, trying to make her put one on. It's just, it was the dumbest time in history ever, and I will never forgive the tyrant lefts for it, honestly. That's the thing that made me wake up the most as far as, like, these people suck, they're assholes, and they're fucking... They would have us in these masks the rest of their life if they could. And they didn't care. They were putting it on 3-year-olds who were crying and screaming to breathe. That shit pisses me off, dude. Lily Lala. Lily Lala loved that mask.
She talking about me about your mask? You're your mask?
Oh, yeah. Obi Kenobi says the only thing that stopped the spread of the virus was Nate's sandblaster mask.
I don't know if you told the story on air, but when the cop told you to put it on. You remember that?
Yeah, that was great.
You ever tell that on air?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll tell that again real quick. I went to it was the gas station that was also a grocery store, and they had a wear a mask in here policy. And so I walked in, and I always carried a big bag with my sandblasting hood, big chemical gloves, another mask.
Carried it in a bag.
Yeah. And so then when I walked in, a cop who was there, I think specifically to enforce the mask rules, I'm standing there looking at the apples, and he goes, "Hey, you got to wear a mask." And I go, "Okay, yep." So I pull out my mask, I pull out a sandblasting hood, I put on the big chemical gloves. He goes, "Well, you don't have to do all that." I go, "Why not? It's a deadly virus, right? We're all going to die."
Didn't he tell you to take it off, basically?
And so he walks off. He comes back like 30 seconds later. He's like, "You know what? You can take it off." I go, "I don't have to wear this shit?" He goes, "Nope, go ahead." And I think it was great because it was exactly what I was intending to do. It embarrassed him that I was wearing all that stupid shit. It really made it obvious what a big joke it all was. And my genius plan worked.
It really... Like the idea, I don't want to keep rehashing this. We have a lot to cover, but the idea of like, this is so deadly and we're all going to die, but I have to run in the grocery store quick to get some trash bags.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go and I'm going out there and I'm risking life and death, but I have a cloth mask on. So it's just like, you don't really believe that.
Right. That was so obvious.
Trudeau
the whole
was
time.
telling people they can't travel while he's flying all over the country vacationing.
Yeah.
We have Gavin Newsom telling everybody don't leave your house and don't eat in a restaurant, and he's having big parties without masks in French Laundry.
Oh, I know.
We had the San Francisco mayor going to concerts without her mask, and she says when they bust her on it, she's the one creating this law, by the way. They bust her on it. She says, "You guys are just prudes," and I got taken away by the spirit of the mood.
That's what she said. And then she also said, like, "I'll pay a fine." It's like, you fucking, and then how about Obama had his 60th birthday party or whatever?
You remember what they said?
Yeah, I do. They said that, they're sophisticated. It was a sophisticated crowd.
List. Yes.
Yeah. Man, that was such an asshole.
There's a big one, too. Corporations keep their doors open, but small businesses can't. Yeah, Walmart can go to the government.
Fine. Yeah.
Walmart can go to the government and say, "Hey, if they get this $1 million air purifier, it's fine. We could be open because of that, and you should write that into law." So then these little mom and pop shops that can't pay for this $1 million air purifier, they have to stay closed.
Yeah. Dude, that's a great point, by Kenobi, because that was one of the things that pissed me off the most also is they were like, "Oh, you can't go to church. Church is not allowed. Go to Walmart." Eventually, they opened some strip clubs in San Diego, but they kept the churches closed because it's sex work. Sex work is this holy thing. Sex work is this great thing you can't violate. But church, well, you don't need to do that. People were getting arrested for singing church songs outside.
Yeah.
I mean, what a time, dude.
Yep.
Oh my God. Because we brought up that sandblasting hood, I'm just gonna grab it, Garrett. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay, I can't wait. All right. I guess I should probably fill time while Nate's going. What we did want to show, because we finally thought, all right, there's not a ton of news this week. It's all tariffs. Everyone's sick of hearing about tariffs. We thought we could kind of go and get some of our old backlog of stuff that we were going to talk about. But Nate, it's already been 43 minutes. I'm not sure we're going to get to it today.
Yeah, we got to talk about some other stuff. But real quick, this was my awesome American flag bandana that I wore in San Diego.
Did you get bad looks in San Diego?
Yeah, I did. That's right.
Did you? I wondered.
Yeah. Oh yeah, liberals hate the American flag because they hate America. Here's my sandblaster hood.
Damn, your background keeps your green screen keeps messing up.
Let's see, how can we make this show? There, you can basically see it.
Oh man.
Heavy duty. And then I got the chemical gloves. So I had a whole outfit, and it honestly did. It shamed the other people. I remember I was standing in line at Walmart wearing all this shit, and the cashier was this, whatever, she was probably like a 60-year-old lady, and she said to me, "You pretty worried about COVID?" And I said, "No." She was so confused. I go, "No, not at all." I go, "I'm not at all." She was like, "What?" Anyway.
I'm surprised you didn't get somebody thanking you for that.
People didn't know what to think. The cop figured it out. The cop knew that I was mocking.
I love that he tried to tell you to take it off after that.
Yeah. And I did take it off. And then I did the rest of my shopping maskless. And then we all lived. Can you believe that? Nobody died. Oh, man.
My favorite is they asked Republicans and Democrats, what percent of people that get COVID go to the hospital? And the average Democrat said like 30%. I thought 30%.
No, I think they said even higher than that.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, dude. And the real answer was like 2%.
Less than 1%.
Yeah.
That's
Also, the ones who went shouldn't have. You know, there's a couple main reasons people died during COVID, and the ventilators is one of them. Getting put on ventilator killed a lot of people. That's my opinion. You know, the other one is when Cuomo took the sickest people he could find and put them in the nursing homes.
While taking, it was Levine that took his mom out of the nursing homes because they knew that he was going to put sick people in the nursing homes.
Yep. All
right, back to the NPR.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, which is ancient history now, they did you want to play this one too? Because this is Bill Maher, he hates Trump. He's a liberal. And even he will finally admit. But they did basically a congressional hearing on NPR and PBS, and it did not go very good.
Oh, I know. We've got some of those clips, and they're great.
But this one's interesting. At least play the first half of.
Okay, here we go.
The heads of NPR and PBS testified before Congress this week amid accusations of liberal bias. Should the government continue to send taxpayer dollars to public broadcasters? Well, a little background here. I mean, they've been after them the Republicans have wanted to get rid of PBS for as long as I can remember. This crowd will probably
could too. Even if they're Republican slant, even if they shouldn't, even if they were completely non-biased, that's not the point.
I agree.
It's taxpayer money. The government shouldn't be having government-funded media.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's horrible.
You would think that would be journalism 101. I mean, that just is propaganda.
No
so
kidding.
even if they were completely unbiased, they shouldn't exist.
Yeah, if they were completely unbiased, they shouldn't exist. If they were biased for Republicans, that would offend me too. I don't want that.
Yes, I don't want that. It still shouldn't happen. And you know what? They could say all they want. They could lie all they want. They could lie about the Hunter Biden laptop. They could lie about
Russiagate,
the Russiagate,
Steele dossier.
They could do all that. They just can't do it with our tax dollars.
Yeah, that's such a
right
good
to
point.
do that. Yeah.
And you know what's great is they wouldn't exist. They could not survive on because their product people wouldn't pay for that shit.
Yep.
So that's why they have to steal from you.
We do it. I mean, I also read my namesake, Catherine Marr, was head of NPR, and she said, "We're completely unbiased. Give me a break, lady." I mean, they're crazy far left. So
even he says they're crazy far left.
Yeah, there's my pet liberal again.
Hey, there's Nate's pet liberal.
Good old Bill Maher, man.
So this is the longest clip we got of this, and it is 4 minutes, but it does do a pretty good job of kind of summing up a lot.
Okay.
Of what a lot of the other guys said.
Let's do it. Because we've been trying to bring up this NPR stuff for 3 shows, and let's finally get it done. Kenobi says, sounds like they are the fascists with their propaganda channels. Absolutely. Yeah. The main thing those channels are saying is the other side's fascists.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, too. That's the big thing is you hear fascists. When the fascists were the ones that told you to stay in their house, and they're the ones that arrested you for singing outside or going to the beach. They're the ones that made you wake up and check the news to see if you're allowed to leave your house without a welding mask or not. Those were the fascists. It wasn't the people that said this is bullshit and we need to question this narrative. They weren't the fascists.
Right.
Just so we're all on the same page.
It was the leftists that were censoring everyone and saying, misinformation can't be allowed. We can't have someone say that maybe the vaccines aren't super safe. Maybe they're not the best thing ever.
In fact, if you do, we're going to go to those big tech companies and we're going to force them to remove your posts.
Yep. Man, they owe us an apology. We're never going to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Kerger, in 2023, when PBS had a program, Washington Week with the Atlantic, and when President Biden's mental acuity was questioned, one of the reporters claimed the GOP was lying. Another reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, who's been in the news of late, described Biden as, quote, mentally acute. Were you aware if there were any dissenting opinions on that program that day?
I don't know from that day. No,
there were not. But fortunately, there was a debate in, I believe, June of 2024, where the American people and the world found out just who was lying. The Democrats, Jeffrey Goldberg, and PBS. Ms. Marr, I'm sure you're aware that Hunter Biden had a laptop.
I am, sir, yes.
Okay. And there were many stories written about said laptop.
Yes, sir.
And in 2020, unfortunately, NPR's managing editor for news refused to cover the story, and he branded it a, quote, waste of time, not a real story, and a distraction. And instead, unfortunately, of NPR investigating, they ran a puff piece that led with, experts say attack on Hunter Biden addiction deepens stigma for millions. It's unfortunate that NPR ignored the Hunter Biden laptop story, but y'all did talk quite a bit about the debunked Russia collusion. Do you know how many times NPR interviewed Adam Schiff about
Congressman, I would love to say that we actually believe we made a mistake on the Hunter Biden laptop story.
And I believe so. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, great. Oh, that's, never mind then. Oh, you feel bad now. Great.
How many times did y'all interview Adam Schiff about the Russia collusion?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number.
It was 25 times. You know how many times NPR interviewed Chairman of this committee, Oversight Committee, Jamie Comer, about the Biden impeachment inquiry for the Hunter Biden tax evasion and illicit business dealings of the Biden family?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I believe that's 0, so it's 25-0. Ms. Kerger, you're aware there's a political spectrum. It goes all the way from the far right to the far left and everywhere in between. Would it trouble you to hear that for 6 months, there was an analysis done on PBS's NewsHour from June to November of 2023, where they found that far right that term was used 162 times, and far left was only used 6 times. Do you find that?
Dude, how about that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised it's not 0.
They probably said the far left is great.
Yeah.
The far left's really smart.
It's fighting for us.
You know, honestly, I honestly think that I'll bet it was positive. You know, maybe 2 of the 6 was negative.
Yeah.
But these companies, man, that's one thing, man. They're loyal to the leftists. You know, the leftists are loyal to their own party. They'll eat their own party, but they'll bat for it every time.
Isn't that troubling?
I don't know the study that you're referring to.
Oh, I don't know the study you're referring to. Well, he just told you what the study was.
Yeah, he just told you about this study, lady.
Be very interested in seeing it and understanding how they came up with those numbers.
Media Research Center did a 6-month analysis, and it's not how do you find it?
How often do you use those terms? How'd they come out with that? Well, how many times was far left and far right said? You fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's hard for her to wrap her head around these concepts.
You say far right, it's terms. They use the term far right 162 times, far left 6 times. That's a 96 to 4% skew. You're also aware that you covered the GOP and Democratic national conventions in 2024?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Interestingly, 72% of the coverage of the GOP convention was negative. 88% of the Democratic convention was positive. Shouldn't be surprising when you have anchors like Amna Noat, who described the Republican rhetoric as, quote, outright racism and, quote, echoing white supremacy. Ms. Mayor, NPR, you believe your reporters are fair? You said they're fair and they're working at it.
I believe that they work to be every day, sir.
They're non-biased. And yet you have the voter registration issue. I mean, we're all human beings. We're all going to see through the world through a certain lens. And are you aware of any Republicans, any registered Republicans in your newsroom?
I couldn't say registered, but I know we have conservatives in our newsroom, yes.
Okay, so the recent registration, when it was looked at, 87 Democrats and 0 Republicans registered.
I found that very concerning,
Yeah,
sir.
I would. Not even 40 to 30 or 50 to 20, 87 to 0. But
87 to 0. You couldn't get more biased.
No.
That's as biased as possible.
That's our taxpayer money.
Oh, my God.
Shouldn't be surprising when their own CEO says things like, I'm so done with late-stage capitalism, or calls the President of the United States a deranged racist sociopath, or that America's addicted to white supremacy. So
she said all those things, by the way.
Yeah. She said some other stuff about white rage and white whatever. Whatever the woke religion says about white people. I'm sure she hates white people.
Get her a taxpayer job quick.
Yeah.
Gone to both of your coffers over the last several decades. And I understand why Democrats on this committee are going to viciously and vehemently defend you all, because you become a propaganda wing of the Democratic Party. 67% of your viewers and listeners identify as Democrat with only 12% conservative, and you become a sandbox for leftist propagandists to frolic on taxpayer dime and no more. And when you said in the beginning you're going to promote a symphony of ideological viewpoints, yeah, you do. If you're left-leaning, far left, or remarkably Marxist, I yield back.
Defund NPR, defund PBS.
It looks like it's going to happen now. I think there's enough votes. I don't know how a Republican could vote against that, really. And there would have to be a few people defecting for it to not pass.
You know, all these, which I've said many shows, might have even said it earlier this show, but all these leftist media organizations losing funding and losing viewership. Their ratings are all-time low like every 2 months, including CNN, is another just giant victory for the right and for the country. Kenobi says her face looks like she needs some Metamucil. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, okay. So did we cover NPR?
Yeah, we have a couple real short clips, I believe.
Oh, 27 seconds? Yeah, okay.
Here it is.
Here we go.
We're there.
Let me ask you, why did you call President Trump a fascist and a deranged racist sociopath in 2020?
Congressman, I appreciate the opportunity to address this. I regret those tweets. I would not tweet them again today. They represented a time where I was reflecting on something that I believe that the president had said rather than who he is. I don't presume that anyone is a racist.
You don't believe anyone is a racist?
I don't start by presuming anyone is a racist.
This lady, dude. This Jim Jordan.
NPR.
How long do you work?
Smashes are pretty well.
I know.
I don't want to show 3 minutes.
I know, because a lot of it is already kind of.
Yeah, he talks about the 87-0.
Yeah.
You know, we covered
the Hunter Biden. Yeah, we had kind of showed that. Yeah.
Good riddance to NPR.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So it's 57 minutes in, Garrett.
I think we got to at least touch on the China stuff a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
We'll save the Snap stuff. What else did we have?
Oh, I had some random stuff, but let's just do the China stuff.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let me see.
So we talked, backtracking a bit, 10% tariffs and everybody, supposedly a bunch of deals getting done. China, 140% we're up to, which just seems like might as well make it 1,000.
Yeah,
at that point, they're not going to buy anything from us anyway.
That actually makes me want to show this meme I saw real quick. Hang on a second. I just thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, we got it up to 150% on China or whatever. Here's Trump and Xi, and he's saying 7,000, 8,000. They're in a bidding war to make it higher. I just thought it was kind of good, you know.
Yeah, for sure. God, they're in a weird spot because they need to fold and they're not. Yeah. They're gonna have to get creative. I think they're trying to with the rare earth minerals. But they're just gonna do
World War III.
Yeah, that too.
There you go. Instead of the bird flu, it'll be the World War III.
Yep.
Okay.
Go to the China clips we've got. Play this one. So this is I think it was like Saturday morning. Trump White House announces they're going to have some exemptions of the tariffs. Every bull in the stock market cheers and goes, "Oh my God, we're going to gap up when futures open up on Sunday." So play this.
Okay.
The White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has confirmed to NBC News that the administration has moved to exempt cell phones, computers, semiconductor chips, and a host of other electronics from Donald Trump's tariffs.
This is huge. So just imagine all the big electronics that we get that's manufactured in China, right? Chips, semiconductors, TVs, cell phones, all the big electronics out there are now going to be tariff-free. I mean, Allie, this is extraordinary. It's kind of like saying, we're going to impose 100+% tariffs on everything we buy from China, except for what we actually buy from them.
Right,
man, if you were Tim Cook.
But people are going crazy. And they even went to Caroline Leavitt and says, "This is true." She says, "Yes." Now go to the next thing I sent you.
Okay. Is this?
Right before future tradings opened up, Trump comes out and says, there is no tariff exception. And he says everything still falls under it. And he basically says that it's misreporting and they're just put it in a different basket. I have no idea if there's an exception or not right now. Okay. I'm guessing that I'm not alone in that, or else it's a no, because while the market was slightly green today, it didn't blast off like it was going to.
You know, I've seen lots of leftists and some people who aren't leftists trying to say like Trump is messing with the market, then like, you know, insider trading
bond
and
issue.
Yeah,
The insider trading's a stupid one.
right, because I don't think it's really happening. But he
The 10
tweeted
and 30-year bond, maybe I could see.
Before,
I do think that's why they folded, because the idea is that the bond market, that's what sets off interest rates. Basically, we have a ton of debt that we need to basically get new rates on. The conspiracy was he's trying to get interest rates as low as possible to go and get those at a lower rate, saving us billions of dollars. Well, the bond market started blowing up right before he put that pause, really blowing up. It was doing the opposite. Not only were stocks going down, the bonds were going way up, and people are saying that's why he folded, really.
I see.
I think this one looks bad. I think Trump did really good with the 98 pause. I think he made him think that he's for real. I think he's going to get some good trade deals. I think this is a giant mistake. You can't have your press secretary saying one thing and then the next day you coming out and confusing the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah.
Not only that, they basically said, if you pay these tariffs, don't worry, we're going to reimburse you. That's what he told the
they'll have to
producers.
Yeah.
But now nobody fucking knows. I think he made a mistake here.
Okay.
And I think China came out and said, we're not going to send rare earth minerals to the United States.
So he said, never mind on the exceptions.
Never mind. Yep.
I see. Yeah. It's crazy, all this going on.
Yep.
Should we
play this? This is an interesting take.
They rob you blind and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodge tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get...
So far, I can't argue with this guy.
So, but this is kind of the point we're making last show, is that they did to the detriment of the middle class and the taxpayer, and to the glee of the globalists and these evil guys in the top. They have more money now. They have more control now. They have more wars now. And also, by the way, they have a higher workforce, because now you have the peasants in China and kids in China working for pennies on the dollar that the middle class here used to get. But also now you have two workers per household. It's not just a single head of household worker raising a family then and supporting a family. Now it takes both parents to go and do that.
Now the women have to work too.
That didn't happen prior to China being added to the World Trade, what is it, WTO that they added to or whatever it was. But before they started to really sell our future down the river to China to get this cheap labor, we didn't have a lot of these problems. That was kind of the point of last show, really.
Yeah, we talked about all that and how essentially all the jobs left the country.
Yep. But the billionaires got a lot more slave labor and turned you guys into debt slaves, basically.
Yeah.
So good job them, I guess.
Well, let's let this guy finish. I wonder where he's going.
Stagnated wages, crippling healthcare cost, cheap dopamine, debt, and flag wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
You know, I don't disagree with basically much of what he said, except that I don't think we really blame China. And I don't think, I don't even think tariffing China is really blaming China.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yep.
It's, you know, it's because they're tariffing us for one thing. And
yeah, you don't see Americans doing what like Canadians are doing. Elbow up, Canadians. Don't buy American. Nobody here is saying, hey, we need to boycott China. We're not blaming China.
No, I don't blame China.
Our past leadership, really.
Yeah, which is kind of what he's telling us we should be doing. It's like, yeah, that is what I do. I blame our past leadership. I blame our oligarchs. They did sell us out and screw us over. And we do need to fix that problem. But I kind of think that's what Trump is doing. I think manufacturing is going to come back to the United States in kind of big ways.
Oh, Obi says it'll be nice having things being produced with some style and pride again. You look at the products that were produced while we were manufacturing back in the 50s, so things were made with pride, not just a bunch of cheap plastic crap that all looks alike. And there's a reason that your parents or grandparents' washer and dryer are still the same one they've had since they bought the house.
That's a good point.
Whereas now they tell you basically 7 years, throw it away. Water heaters now are basically 4 years. They tell you to throw it out after 4 years. It's just a planned
obsolescence.
That's obvious. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, I really hate that. You know, what a horrible event in human history that we've gone from trying to make the best product to trying to purposely make a product that ends up sucking in a few years.
That needs to. It was like the first almost subscription model that everything is now. It's ruining everything.
Yeah.
Ruining video games. It's ruining the movie business. It's
ruining everything.
It's moving. Streaming's terrible now,
and it's making everything.
It killed music.
Yeah, you can't listen to music. Yeah,
yep.
How funny, dude.
Shit now.
Yeah,
all because of that.
And it's like it's that humans have the wrong motivation in this way. Like it used to be, I'll make the best truck, and then I'll help people. They'll have a great truck. And now it's like, I'll make a truck that breaks in 5 years so they can buy another one.
You want to do 5-year loans? So then they get a new, we'll call them the moment that 5 years is up, knowing their loan's out, and they have a car payment. And for some reason, they'll just buy a new car. Let's do that.
Yeah. What
so
a joke.
It's kind of interesting. Kenobi brought up them making junk. Well, have you been on TikTok today or recently?
No, I actually kind of quit using TikTok.
Well, good for you, but you know, obviously, U.S. was trying to ban TikTok, saying this is just the CCP, basically. Really weird today that they're pushing out. You open up TikTok, you're not going to recognize it today.
How
it
funny.
is just over and over. It's almost like China. This has something with the trade war. I can't quite get what, but they're coming out and saying, you guys are saying we just make shit. Well, just let you guys know, we make all of the luxury brands, and then we ship it to Italy, and they just slap a logo on it, and they claim it's made in Italy when it wasn't. And you pay a shitload for it, and it's worth about fractions, pennies on the dollar. And in fact, now you might as well come to us and buy it from us.
Oh, okay. But
it's on everything.
You're making an interesting point that, like, so people, the algorithm on TikTok, it used to be whatever you like, and maybe a little bit of influence from China. But now China's like, hey, turn on the algorithm to push it to everybody.
Yes. And not only that, we're going to out the secrets. Louis Vuitton, when you're selling your $10,000 bag, we're going to show how it's done. I have a couple of these. We were able to speed through a lot of these.
Okay.
But the first two kind of explains it a little bit better than I did, really.
Boxbar says Amazon is trying to buy TikTok.
I'm sure. Jeez.
I didn't know that.
Think about TikTok now. So not only do you get ads, but now you get
shop.
They almost trick you, and in the bottom it'll say like creator gets a commission from this. And next thing you know, they're trying to get you to buy some stupid little junk. Mm-hmm. And it's so cringy because it'll be like, you could tell they had a very little set of stuff to pick between. And so they'll pick a shirt that'll say like, fuck you. And they'll act like, oh, this is so hilarious. Look at this shirt. And it's just like, oh, this is just the cringiest shit ever.
I'm watching a commercial. I'm accidentally watching a commercial.
I can see why Amazon would want to buy it.
All right, let's play this. So here's an example of a TikTok video, right?
Do you recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low. What I'm really proud of is that first, we have the best quality control. Two, we have the best craftsmanship. You know, Chinese craftsmen are always intelligent and diligent. Three, we have the most complete supply chain. We always get what we want, like zippers, accessories of any kind, any color, and leathers immediately. Now, as the USA and its little European brothers are trying to refuse Chinese goods, don't you think luxury brands are not trying to move their OEM out of China? Yes, they did, but they failed because the OEM factories out of China, they don't have good quality control and they don't have as good craftsmanship. Their workers are either too expensive or too lazy. Three, they don't have any supply chain. They always have trouble getting leather or zippers or any accessories. That is why they failed, and that is why we will always be the best OEM factory for luxury brands. Why don't you just contact us and buy from us? You will.
So that's another thing. Now they're saying basically they're trying to cut out that middleman. And I think there's a chance because of the tariffs that they're having goods backed up. So now they're just pushing out. Hey, buy from us. Hey, cut out the middleman.
Don't believe the prices we give you.
Dude, that was kind of interesting to me. And, you know, I like that he's proud of his factory, to be honest. But I got to say, you know, okay, so this guy is saying, by the way, Louis Vuitton, you're paying $10K for a bag and we're making it for $40 over here. It's not some, you know, whatever they try to, Louis Vuitton tells people, which, you know what? I've always thought luxury goods are stupid as hell. Somebody paid $2,000 for a handbag or whatever. I think that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that.
Something. I'm a capitalist. I'm a consumer. All of that. But at the same time, like you said, $2,000 for a handbag, when you do legit have as much starving kids and shit as there is in the world.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not
it's obscene.
And I'm not saying that like that is your personal that I don't think you have a moral obligation to go and try to save every kid. You just drown in it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you were walking, there's that whole thing, like if you were walking and you see a kid drowning in a lake, but you're wearing a $750 suit.
Yeah.
Are you going to save the kid? Or are you going to be like, oh man, the suit costs
suit's too nice. That kid has to die. Yeah.
There's kind of when you're buying a $2,000 bag, there's a little bit of me is like, you're kind of walking by that kid.
Well, I think so too. But I think if you're paying a $10K bag, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But I also think if you buy a $30 supper, maybe that's too much.
That's the thing. And then you could go down. That's a really weird line to go down.
Yeah.
Where, but then bringing this to the other extreme, did you see where there's that big Italian fashion guy and he's making bags, and one of the bags for the strap, he used a kid's actual backbone, a kid's actual vertebra and stuff.
I did see some shit like that.
How evil is that?
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely.
He went to some
disgusting.
poor African place and found someone that actually would sell them because they can't, whatever they traded it for or whatever. Actually took a dead kid's skeletal system and made a bag out of it.
Oh my God. I hope that guy's skeleton gets made into a bag then.
Yeah.
His and only his should be used for bags. Kenobi says, I bet all his workers call him master.
Yeah,
they got some rough working conditions over there. There's no doubt about that.
Well, let's not sugarcoat China. They have child labor. They have concentration camps right now.
Yeah.
Chinese government is very evil.
Yeah, communist.
Yes. Same guy. But and I got to say, this just is coming out. This is happening today. It's happening right now. Okay. And Louis Vuitton already had to come out and basically make a statement on this. Because that's kind of going kind of crazy.
Dude,
their statement was kind of funny because they didn't really deny it.
Well,
they basically just said, oh, we have the best products, and it's not true. But they never said anything about not being made in China, nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I believe this guy, having watched one 1-minute video of them. But I would love it if people went why am I believing this lie that this Gucci shirt I should pay $10K for it? I mean, what a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Shit is just ridiculous, dude.
As long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that.
And then they say it's
that way, the bags will appear at their...
You know, I got to cut this guy off. I want to say that, you know, like, this guy's probably been making the best bags in the world and listening to people shit on China.
I think that's kind of what they're saying. That's a good point. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
They're basically saying, like, we're sick of you guys saying our stuff is junk because that's what the people are saying with the tariffs. They're saying, like, oh, we don't need China crap anyway. And they're trying to act like...
Which there's some truth to that too, but there's probably a lot of truth to what he's saying of like we're the finest craftsmen in the world or whatever he's saying. I'm sure there's some truth
funny
to
about that.
Yeah.
He's saying that, and they're juxtaposing it with these terrible edits on the video of like the dog pops up. It's like bow wow wow.
Yeah,
like that is what I would expect if I got a really bad person from like Fiverr or something. Thankfully, Rowan, who does our videos, does way higher quality than this.
Absolutely. They should have hired
Shout out
Rowan.
to Rowan.
Yeah, they should have hired him to make their edits here. But yeah, I want to point out like if I was this guy and I've been making all these great products who people are paying $15K for, and then the same people and the company that I'm giving this bag to are shitting on me and my manufacturer, I would feel resentful about that.
Also, why he brought in the first one, how while paying us almost nothing, and we're not getting the benefits.
Right,
of this,
their profit margin is tiny, he said, which is true. I'm sure. Wow.
Boutiques as made in Italy or made in France. You know, those sophisticated European countries, which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. Now, close your eyes. Let's just do a little, very easy experiment in your head, okay? Imagine that you have an Hermes bag, and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China, while everything else, like leathers, zippers, and hardware, remain the same. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before? If you do, that means you have been misled and poisoned by the market campaign of those luxury brands for too long. Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China by our intelligent and diligent Chinese artisans. Let's not be poisoned and misled by the market campaign any longer and be a real person. Buy a bag from us, from our factory in China. See the real world for yourself.
Hey, I'm on this guy's side, dude. I'm loving it, I'll be honest.
Obviously, the CPP is just pushing this out all of a sudden, all at once, at a very opportune time for them.
Yeah, but he's also right.
Yeah.
It's like, quit living in this illusion.
Play the next video I got for you, too, just because I think it kind of shows. That's not the one I thought. Play this one anyway. It's a quick one.
Okay.
But it also shows it's not just handbags. It's like show. I don't want to spoil the surprise. You might as well play it.
One more thing I agree with that guy about is that these European countries suck, and they all think they're up their own asses with how sophisticated they are, and really they're just dipshits.
Yep. It's gonna be fun to watch their GDP go negative.
Yeah, they're in big trouble.
Lululemon, some of their yoga wears are actually from Xianglong Clothing and Huangqisheng Clothing. And guess what? Both factories located in Yiwu here. And these two factories also supply clothing for Fila and Under Armour. I guess most of you know the price of Lululemon or other big brands. They sell you a legging pants for $100. And guess what? Here in these two factories, you can get them for around $5 to $6. Crazy! And what's even better? The material and the craftsmanship are basically the same because they all come the same production line. See, this is why people come to China and looking for the OEM factory because they just can get the cheapest and best quality product from there and sell you I don't know how much. Alright guys, if you want to know more about Lululemon or any other active wear brands, leave your message in the comment section. I'm Luna, your reliable sourcing partner.
Dude, I'm so sold on this. I love this. I don't know why. I love that. Like,
you know why? Because our whole lives, the fucking middleman and our government, it almost shows just bureaucracy. Governments just get bigger all the time because they just have people lobbying all the time. And then people in New Jersey can't even pump their own gas because it's, I guess, dangerous, even though the rest of the world pumps their own. And we can't even go and buy a car straight from the car manufacturer. They legally make you go to a car dealership and have a middleman.
Yeah.
Tesla is fighting that battle, and they're losing in a lot of places and they're winning in some where they could finally sell direct to you. But I couldn't do that. I had to drive to a different state to pick up my Tesla because I can't buy straight because the government knows better.
How dumb. Thanks,
the
government.
Middleman knows
you really
better.
protected me.
So they're forcing these people to go to car dealerships. And anyone that tells you that they're at a car dealership and, oh, I got a really good deal, I took them. You didn't. You got had.
Right.
You stupid idiot.
Yep.
You got had. Or else they wouldn't have taken the deal. But because you're so gullible, you believe them that you got the good deal on that one. Nobody else. It's you. You're special. You're a special negotiator. Good job. But they make you go through the middleman for so much shit.
This gets rid of the middleman. And also the middleman is doing this lie of like, Under Armour shirt, that's worth $50 because that's super great quality. And that shirt that's exactly the same, absolutely exactly the same, isn't as good as Under Armour. Well, yes, it is. You know? So I love that this lie is being exposed. I hate these companies too, you know? Like Nike. I think these are evil companies often, you know?
Yeah.
Kenobi says, that's pretty ironic that Lululemon is made in an Asian country, considering the owner called it Lululemon to make fun of Asian accents.
Really?
Is that true? Because they can't say Lululemon? Or is that just a hilarious joke by Kenobi?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think the next one's a little bit more substantive. Gosh dang, I might have this out of order. Mr. Wonderful was talking a little bit about it. I'll just paraphrase. There it is. Yeah, play this one quick. It's not very long, but he just makes the point because he does a lot of business with China and stuff.
Okay.
We probably don't have to play it, but it's kind of interesting.
Let's play it.
Is unemployment, poverty in the United States, that is a homegrown American problem, actually, that various different governments have let down neglected communities.
Well, we're talking about China specifically right now. China and the United States are in an economic war, not a military war. They're vying for supremacy of the largest economy. Right now, when we measure it today, the United States is about 26.1% of the world's GDP and almost 40% of all consumption. Wow. That's a very powerful hand to have with a lot of the products that China
makes. That's a point we made earlier. That's a pretty powerful negotiating stance.
Well, no wonder we have a trade deficit with a lot of countries, though. If we have 26% of the world's GDP,
how could we not?
40% of the consumption.
If we're buying this much, then you would have a trade deficit.
Absolutely.
But that's not to say we're not being treated unfairly, because we are.
Absolutely, yeah.
It makes, and I might add, employ Chinese workers. Think about the dilemma she has this morning. Right now, as we speak, there's all kinds of factories where they have nowhere to sell their products because the tariffs at 125% are so punitive. What are where are those workers going? Are they going to go into the streets when they're no longer employed? When you're the supreme leader, the last thing you can have happen has the population unemployed and unfed. That's what she is really, that's the risk he has. Because it's...
Won't she just find markets elsewhere, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia?
Pause real quick.
And as you...
What an idiot this reporter is, by the way. He just got on saying 40% of consumption is the United States. And she's asking, what if he just goes to Africa?
Yeah.
You know, in Madagascar, you know how they like to just throw their money around.
Right.
The reporters are just...
No shit. Why would she mention Africa? Like Africa's going to buy some goods.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, you know, Louis Vuitton's are going to fly off the shelves in Africa.
That's funny.
say, you know, America is the great consumer. America is buying Chinese products. So American consumers are going to be hurt, aren't they, buying these tariffs?
Well, not really, because we don't actually need the shit we're buying, lady. So it doesn't matter if we don't get all this, you know, we don't need any more bags. We have plenty of bags. Now, obviously, there are lots of goods we will want to buy from China. And so it will hurt some. But this is exactly what we were saying earlier of like, China's in big trouble here.
Yep.
China needs us buying their.
And that's why I kind of wonder if also the TikTok thing is them really are just, they know within a week or two, they're going to have so many pants that whoever
sure. Actually,
used to buy those. They're not anymore. Maybe we go straight to the people and sell them for a fraction of the price. Even if they pay 125% more, it's still going to be way cheaper than it would be if they're buying from Louis Vuitton or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
way
what I'm
cheap,
wondering.
way cheaper.
Yeah.
I think that is a kind of a smart strategy.
Because, you know, this is where people get wrong, too. They say, man, 25% tariffs, everything's going to go up 25%. No, it's not, because it's marked up a bunch and stuff. Well, let's say you're, I don't know.
Especially if you cut out the middleman, it'll go down.
Let's say you buy a bag and Walmart or Target's getting it for $10 and they're charged a 25% tariff on that, but they sell it for $100. They're not getting charged 25% of $100. They're getting charged 25% of $5 that they paid. So they're paying, what's that, a couple dollars, and then they're going to go try to sell it for $100. They're not paying $25 extra that they're going to tack on the top of that. That's another thing where people get wrong about tariffs. They think, well, everything's going to go up 25% now in the United States. That's not how this works.
You know, the real problem, though, is that, like, people buy Louis Vuitton bags because it says Louis Vuitton.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, if I said, oh, look, I can give you this $10K bag and it's only $50, but it doesn't say Louis Vuitton, some woman will actually not buy it. She don't care.
All the time. Look at Rolex watches and stuff. There's very, very good fakes.
Right.
They're not even, you won't even call them fakes. There's some they call them tributes. They say that this isn't a Rolex, but we're going to make it look just like the 1995 diver Rolex that's worth $100,000. And you won't be able to tell the difference unless you bring it into a walk shop.
Right.
And they don't sell.
Right,
like,
they don't sell. Yeah. I sort of understand that, but it's another thing that I hate about it. You know, it's like, it's this weird lie that's on top of what the good actually is, you know, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go, but also shipping costs from China, you know, that's another, but I mean, the difference between a $10K bag and $115 for a $6 bag with shipping. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'd still obviously say it's
these next few you're gonna be able to rifle through, but you'll just get a sense of what someone's front page looks like now.
Okay, here we go.
26. Do you want to open $1 store? 26. Oh, 26. Oh, 26. Do you need a catalog? Message me. Thank you, boss.
I love that. I love that video. I also like that he said, do you want to open a dollar store? This guy's got my dollar store ready. I can just call this guy, say, hey, we're doing it. I give him 20 cents. I'm selling it for $1. Shit, I might open a store.
Here's a catalog, boss.
Yeah, and he'll call me boss. This guy's great. Here we go.
Baba, get out of here. AliExpress, get out of here. Amazon, get out of here. Do not searching for goods in this platform anymore. You know that? Because this is already full of middlemen and your profits is already ate up. You need a more direct way to searching for goods. Come here and I'll check this out for you. This is my warehouse. The warehouse is full of inventory shoes. You said the inventory is bad quality. Let me tell you, they are not. $3, $3.
I'm going to open a $10 shoe store.
Just think if they did flood the U.S. with those shoes and stuff, now all of a sudden tariffs are deflationary. You know, they start dumping these. No, we're in the middle, man. We're just going to, Nate's open up a warehouse in Texas, and now he's a bunch of $5 shoes coming in.
I'm opening a $10 shoe store and a dollar store. I've got great business plans all of a sudden. I kind of love this. You know?
Bro, I think it could be, look at this thing. This one I actually kind of think is awesome.
What? 10K house?
$1,000, you can buy the Luban Kevin's capsule house. Our houses are produced in our factory. Balcony, living room, kitchen, bathroom, and a bedroom. Smart control panel. Entrance hallway with a small shoe rack. Smart beauty mirror. Sofa, coffee table, and a kitchen. Aircon, floor heating, and a double bed. 30 days production can be delivered anywhere. Just $10,000.
Yeah, that's better than
what the hell
most apartments in New York, and it's gonna pays off in like 3 months of average rent in New York.
Dude, I watch tons of tiny home and pod home type videos on YouTube, and $10K, that's a steal. I don't want all the LED lights though, so we're gonna have to make some negotiations.
They can get an acre and throw that out there. How awesome would that be?
It'd be way better than wasting $1,000 a month on my apartment.
To be living on top of a bunch of people.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, I'm gonna get all these great stuff now.
Congratulations.
Awesome. This feels like it's my spam email. Congratulations.
You just found the direct factory of laundry pods. My family working in cleaning industry for more than 30 years. I'm the second generation. We need the agents to distribute our beautiful products in their own country. For small quantity, we can ship worldwide from one carton. If you are interested, please follow me slow, send me a message, get free sample.
Get a free sample.
It's like $1. You get a shitload of those.
Dude, you know what? Like, I want this guy to be able to sell his laundry pad. That's what I don't like. If all of a sudden Tide isn't buying laundry pods from this guy, but Americans can buy them directly and save a bunch of money instead of giving Tide for $17, I can give this guy $6. All right, I'm listening. This has been an interesting.
So I wonder if this was
15
doing
minutes,
like
Garrett.
You know what? We're gonna nuke the high value brands. Screw Louis Vuitton and all those.
Yeah,
we have an unspoken agreement, but these tariffs are making that tough. So we're sick of getting shit on. And now they're undercutting GDP here. Just go straight from them.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we're all saving money,
But I had just dozens of those. I just sent some random ones for you to look at.
Garrett, it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think
we
did
didn't
a good
get into
show.
Snap again.
Yeah, it's all right.
Maybe next time.
I've got a video to play us out with, and it's with a Chinese lady in it. Just happens to. Different subject, but I actually love this video. I've seen it before. And let's play this, and then we'll probably call it a show.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Hang on a second.
Question for this woman to end this man's gun control debate.
Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner, our government in the U.S., in D.C., will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of
Yeah.
But
that was
Biden-
David Hogg, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
But Biden, he says to that is, well, what are your guns going to do against our drones and our jets? It's like, okay, well, you're threatening American people with that. But also, are you completely ignorant of the history of America's last wars? How did Afghanistan go? How did Iraq go?
Yeah.
We can even go back to Vietnam. How did Vietnam go?
Absolutely.
Well,
A
we showed
handgun in a person's hand is an extremely important self-defense thing, even
Absolutely.
against jets and whatever fake shit you want to threaten us with.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that she said, can you guarantee the government will never become tyrannical? He says, I can't guarantee it. Then the gun control debate is over. I just love how she worded that, dude. I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Kenobi says that Lululemon thing is true. that they named it to mock Chinese people because it's hard for them to say. Yeah, you learn something new every day. Kenobi, Box Bar, Adam and Stove, Lily Lala, everybody who watched. Hope we didn't miss anybody.
Yep. Sorry if we did.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week at the latest.
Yeah. Next Monday.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.